Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I, Mr. Yogesh, Faculty of Mathematics, and I am here to put excitement back into the education. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about few problems depends upon finding the domain and range of the functions. So we have function is of the form here f of x to be equals to 1 upon root of 4 minus x square. We are finding domain and range of the given function. So for that, let us consider y to be equals to given function 4 minus x square. After all squaring on both sides, we get y square to be equals to 1 upon 4 minus x square. So we know that the square of any real number or the real value never negative. That means y square value never be negative. So that implies ultimately 1 upon 4 minus x square never be negative means greater equal 0. So once our numerator be the constant value, it should be never be negative. So we have to be focused on the denominator. So denominator never be negative means 4 minus x square is greater equal 0. And one more case we are having. Once here 4 minus x square is equals to 0. So ultimately the division is indeterminate. That means 1 upon root of 4 minus x square is indeterminate due to the denominator is 0. So that implies f of x is undefined. So we have condition on x only, that is 4 minus x square here, that should be strictly greater than 0. It never be equals to the 0. So 4 is the perfect square of 2. We can write it as a 2 square minus of x square strictly greater than 0. So we have the factors for this quadratic expression is of the form 2 plus x into 2 minus x strictly greater than 0. So we have there are the two possible cases, either a case 1 or the case 2. Once both brackets are having the positive sign, so positive into the positive becomes we get the positive real number, that means strictly greater than 0 number. So we have the first case is of the form 2 plus x is greater than 0 and 2 minus x is greater than 0, or might be there is a possibility of both brackets are having negative sign. So under multiplication minus minus becomes a plus. So second case is of the form 2 plus x is strictly less than 0 and 2 minus x is strictly less than 0. So after all simplifying those all inequalities, we might get the condition on x. So after all shifting 2, we get x is strictly greater than that of minus 2 and 2 is strictly greater than that of x, that is x is strictly less than that of 2. So for that now we have to consider the real number line, consider somewhere 2 on it, left of it we have a minus 2. So as per the first inequality, x is strictly greater than that of minus of 2. Minus of 2 should not included in an interval, and whatever be the value lies just right of minus 2 is always greater than that of minus 2. Now as per the second inequality within the first case, x is strictly less than that of 2, 2 is not included, and whatever be the value lies just left of the 2 should be less than 2. So we have now the combined region between the given intervals. As per the end, we have to find ultimately the intersection. So the condition on x is of the form x is strictly greater than minus 2 and simultaneously it should be less than 2. That means ultimately x is belongs to an open interval minus 2 comma 2. Now as per the second case, we are trying to simplify all the inequalities. X should be strictly less than that of minus of 2 and 2 is less than that of 2 is strictly less than that of x, so that is x should be strictly less than that of 2. So consider a real number line, on it somewhere we have a 2, left of it we have a minus of 2. So whatever be the value that should be lies just to the left of minus 2, it should be less than that of minus 2, and whatever be the values lies just right of the 2, that should be greater than that of 2. So if we are considering now the intersecting part of both inequalities, it is the null set or the void set. That means the case number 2 is not possible. So we have the domain is of the form now as an open interval minus 2 comma 2 for the given function f of x is equals to 1 upon 4 minus x square. Now we are trying to find out the range. Look at carefully towards a range. So for range, we have given function y to be equals to 1 upon root of 4 minus x square. So that implies now y square to be equals to 1 upon 4 minus x square. So keep in mind, for finding the range, we have to express now x in terms of y. So after all shifting the denominator, it gives us y square into 4 minus x square, that should be equals to the 1. So after all distributing this y square over the bracket, we might get 4y square minus of y square into x square, that is equals to 1. So it is quadratic in x, keep in mind. So let us rearrange the given quadratic equation in terms of standard form of quadratic equation. We might have it is of the form y square x square minus of 4y square plus 1 equals to 0. So it is quadratic in x. So x square coefficient we have as an y square, while the constant term we have as an 1 minus 4y square. So once x should be a real number lies in an open interval minus 2 comma 2. So for all real values of x's over here, the discriminant operator delta b square minus 4ac should be greater equal 0. So on comparing given quadratic equation in x with respect to our standard quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, we might have here a value be the coefficient of x square. The variable y x is not given, so whose coefficient we have it becomes a 0, and while the constant term we have 1 minus 4y square. So replace now ABC by their value from your discriminant operator delta. We might get 0 square minus of 4 times y square into 1 minus 4y square, that should be greater equal 0. So 0 square as a 0, so we might have minus of 4y square into 1 minus 4y square, that should be greater equal 0. So since here y square is always greater equal 0, because square of any real number never 0, never negative actually. So that implies now we have 1 minus 4y square should be greater equal 0. So that implies ultimately 1 by 4 minus of y square, that should be greater equal 0. Again we have 1 by 4 is the perfect square for half. So half square minus of y square should be greater equal 0. Now as per the identity a square minus b square, we have the factor for half square minus of y square becomes half plus y into half minus y should be greater equal 0. So again there are two cases we are having. Either both brackets are having positive value or the both brackets are having negative value. That means half plus y should be greater equal 0 and half minus y should be greater equal 0, or we have the possibility of second case as a half plus y should be less equal 0 and half minus y should be less equal 0. Both are to be negative. So once a half plus y should be greater equal 0, so that implies now y should be greater equal minus of half, and once half minus y should be greater equal 0, so that implies half is greater equal y. that is y should be less equal half. So to consider now their intersecting part, because due to the word as an and, so let us consider a real number line. Somewhere we have a half on it and left of it we have a minus of half. So now y is greater or equal minus half means minus half is included, and whatever be the value like just to the right of minus half should be greater or equal minus half. And half is included in that interval, and y should be now less equal half means whatever be the real value just lies left of half should be less equal half. So we have now the intersecting part becomes a closed interval minus half comma half. That means now our y belongs to the closed interval minus half comma half, or you might consider y is greater or equal minus half and simultaneously less equal half as per the first case. Now look at the second case carefully. We are having half plus y should be less equal 0 means y should be less equal minus half, and simultaneously we are having half minus half y should be less equal 0 means that implies half should be less equal y, that is y should be greater equal half. So to considering their intersecting part of the given interval, consider a real number line. Somewhere on it we have a half, left of it we have a minus half. So as per the first case, y should be less equal minus half means minus half is included, and whatever be the real number lies just to the left of minus half, that should be less than that of minus half. While y is greater or equal half, half should be included in an interval, and whatever be the real value lies just right of half should be greater than half. So if we are considering the intersecting part of both interval, it should be your null set or an empty set. So the case number second is not possible, because there is no one common part between the given intervals or the intersecting part between the given interval. So we have ultimately condition on y becomes y is greater or equal minus half and simultaneously less equal half means y belongs to the closed interval minus half to half. So we have range of the given function becomes from closed interval minus half to half. Now look at the next example. Again finding the range of, now we are having greatest integer function. So the greatest integer function should be denoted by like way, and you can read it as a greatest integer function of x, or you might be says the greatest integer not greater than x, or the greatest integer less than or equal to x. So suppose to be we are having f of x is of the form now cos of greatest integer value of x, where we have given here domain x should be strictly greater than minus pi by 2 and simultaneously strictly less than that of pi by 2. So as we have given, I would like to mention it on a real number line. So the value of pi by 2 is approximately 1.57. So on a real number line we might be consider the value of pi by 2 becomes a 1.57. So somewhere we have a 1.57 on a real number line, and left of it we have somewhere minus of 1.57. Now we have to find out the subsets of the given domain which are of the form minus 1.57. So which is the greatest integer greater than that of minus of 1.57, it becomes a minus 1. Next to it we have a 0, and which is the greatest integer value of 1.57, it becomes a 1. So we have to consider now the subsets of the given intervals are of the form minus 1.57 to minus 1, minus 1 to 0, 0 to 1, and 1 to 1.57. So for that we will consider firstly the case first for the value of x should be strictly greater than that of minus of pi by 2 and strictly less than now the minus of 1. So let us try to consider any value that should be lies in between minus 1.57 to minus of 1. We are considering the open interval, keep in mind. So you might be consider the values from ultimately 1.56 that should be greater than that of minus of 1.57 up to that of minus of 0.99, because minus of 1 let it be under consideration greater than that of minus of 0.99. Now look at once, suppose I would like to consider a value minus of 1.45 over here. So the greatest integer value of minus of 1.45. So for that, which are the integer values that should be greater than that of, less than or equal to that of minus of 1.47, not greater than, that means less than or equal to. So we are having minus of 2, minus of 3, minus of 4, so on up to the minus of infinity. So ultimately we have to consider here minus of 2, because among them which is the greatest integer, it becomes a minus of 2. So we are having greatest integer value of minus of 1.45 is a minus of 2. So we have the function is of the form cos of x, and that is equals to, now we are having the greatest integer value of x in an open interval minus of pi by 2 to minus of 1 becomes a minus of 2. Now the cos of minus of 2, as per cos of minus of theta, is the positive value of cos theta. So we are having cos of 2 here. Nextly we will consider the second interval that should be from minus of 1. I would like to consider the minus 1 value also. So x should be now greater or equal minus of 1 and strictly less than 0. That means we are considering the interval from minus 1 to 0, where minus of 1 is included while 0 is not included. So take any value which is greater than that of minus of 1. Actually here we have to consider the value among the values from minus of 1.56 to minus of 1.01, let it be. And now here we can consider the values from minus of 0.99 to that of, let us, we are having the minus of 0.99 is greater than that of minus of 1, and which is the possible value that should be less than that of 0, it becomes 0. Under consideration 0.09. So let us take any one value among them. So I would like to take x to be equals to the minus of 0.5, where minus of 0.5 lies is in the semi-closed interval minus 1, 0. So what is the greatest possible value of minus of 0.5? So for that, which are the integer that should be less equal minus of 0.5, that are minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on up to minus of infinity. Among them, which is the greatest integer value? It becomes a minus of 1. So we are having minus of 0.5, or you might be consider for any value of x that should lies in the interval, semi-closed interval minus 1 to 0, we have it as a minus of 1. So ultimately we are having here f of x to be equals to cos of greatest integer value of x not greater than x equals to cos of ultimately a minus of 1, and cos of minus of theta becomes positive cos of theta. So we are having cos of 1. Now we will consider the third case. So third case implies here, now we will consider the 0 in that interval, as per the standard case 0 in that interval up to the 1. So x should be greater equal 0 and less equal 1. That means we are considering ultimately the semi-closed interval from 0 to 1, because 0 is included in that interval. So for that again I will consider a real number line and the semi-closed interval on it. And we are trying to finding out for any real value lies in the semi-closed interval minus 0 to, that means 0 to 1. So we are having somewhere is the 0 and somewhere be the 1. So it is the semi-closed interval. 0 is included in that interval while 1 is not included. So consider any value. I will consider x to be equals to the 0.5 now. So greatest integer value not greater than 0.5 is given by which are the possible integers now less than that of minus of 0.5. So it becomes 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on up to the minus of infinity. Among them, which is the greatest integer value? We have a 0. So for any x lies in the interval, semi-closed interval 0 to 1, we have a greatest integer value not greater than x becomes a 0 always. So f of x we might have here cos of greatest integer value of x not greater than x is equals to cos of 0. Now everyone well known as per the standard trigonometric table cos of 0 is 1. Now we are trying to consider the fourth interval. Fourth interval is of the form 1 is included while 1.57 means your pi by 2 value is not included. So for that I would like to consider the semi-closed interval from 1 to 1.57, ultimately the pi by 2, because as per the given domain pi by 2 is not included in that interval. So we are having here for that consider a real number line again. On that real number line we have a somewhere pi by 2 means the 1.57 and left of it somewhere we have a 1. So 1 is included, pi by 2 is not included. That means ultimately we are having x should be greater or equal than that of 1 and ultimately strictly less than pi by 2. So consider any value in between them. I would like to consider x to be equals to the 1.5. That should be greater than 1 and ultimately less than that of 1.57. So the greatest integer value not greater than 1.5 is given by. So which are the possible integers now less than that of 1.5? That are either a 1, 0, minus of 1, minus of 2 and so on up to the minus of infinity. Among them which is the greatest integer? So it becomes a 1. So that should implies whenever x lies in the semi-closed interval 1 to pi by 2, the greatest integer value of x not greater than x becomes a 1 always. So f of x to be equals to cos of greatest integer value not greater than x is equals to we are having cos of 1 always. Now we are finding the range. So what are the possible values of y or the f of x's from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, that means is in the given domain. So we are writing now the possible values. At first the f of x's is in the curly braces. So I will circle out them. So which are the possible values of f of x's over here? That are either a cos of 2, cos of 1, 1 and cos of 1. So cos of 2, cos of 1, 1 and cos of 1. So ultimately I will write down them is in the curly braces. Cos of 2, cos of 1 and 1. So the range of the given function f is of the form cos of 2, cos of 1 and 1. That means whatever be the value belongs to your domain. That means we have given the domain of given function f is of the form a open interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. So whatever be the value of x's in between minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, the value of f of x or might be the y should be among cos 2, cos of 1 or a 1. Now we are considering the next function. Again it should belongs to your greatest integer function not greater than. So suppose to be we are having f of x is of the form e to the power x minus greatest integer value not greater than x. For all x's now we have given the domain belongs to the sets of real number or you might write in terms of the open interval minus infinity comma positive infinity. So here value of x should be always, as per the exponential case, it is always greater equal 0. That means we are having here x minus greatest integer value of x and simultaneously less equal 1. So if we are taking exponential power throughout the inequality, we get x e to the power 0 strictly less than or equal to that of x minus greatest integer value of x e to the power, keep in mind, and strictly less than that of e to the power 1 again, because we are taking the exponential power. So anything to the power 0 becomes a 1, less equal e to the power x minus greatest integer value of x strictly less than that of e to the power 1, means we have a e. So ultimately that should implies this is the value of f of x e to the power x minus greatest integer value of x not greater than x greater equal 1 and simultaneously strictly less than that of e. So why should it happens that 0 is less equal x minus greatest integer value of x not greater than x strictly less than that of 1? Because if we are considering here, for example, x value becomes any real value, I would like to consider 3.2, and if we are finding now the value of x minus greatest integer value not greater than x, so that becomes ultimately 3.2 minus greatest integer value of 3.2 not greater than 3.2. So for finding greatest integer value of 3.2 not greater than 3, so ultimately which are the possible integer value less than that of 3.2? That are 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, and so on up to the minus of infinity. Among them, which is the greatest integer value? It becomes a 3. So we are having greatest integer value not greater than 3.2 becomes a 3. So after replacing by that value, we have 3.2 minus of 3, it becomes a 0.2. So the value of x minus greatest integer value of x is always greater equal 0 and strictly less than that of 1. So as per that we get now the f of x belongs to, as per the interval, as a semi-closed interval 1 comma e. So the range of the given function f is equals to the semi-closed interval 1 comma e. Now we are considering the logarithmic function. Suppose we might have the function is of the form f of x to be equals to log of x minus, or we might take x plus 4 to the base, supposed to be x minus 1. So as per the standard logarithmic function, once we have f of x to be equals to log of x to the base a, we have a certain condition on base of the given logarithm and the value of the function under logarithm. That means for the base we are having that a value is always greater than that of 0 and might not be equals to the 1, and the value of function condition on the function under logarithm we are having x is strictly greater than 0. So same case we have to follow here. Instead of a we have x minus 1, instead of x we have a x plus 4. So the condition on base here x minus 1 becomes strictly greater than 0 and x minus 1 is never be equals to the 1. And at the same time the condition on the function under logarithm, that should be strictly greater than 0. So now once x minus 1, we are trying to finding the domain of the given function, so try to simplify all inequalities here. So once x minus 1 is strictly greater than that of 0, so that should implies x is strictly greater than 1. After all shifting minus 1, so minus 1 becomes a plus 1, so x never be equals to the 2, because once x is equals to 2, 2 minus 1 becomes 1, we have a logarithmic base as a 1, that should not required. So that's why x never be equals to the 2, and simultaneously x is strictly greater than that of minus of 4. Now for considering their intersection due to the word as an and, So for that, consider a real number line R. Somewhere we have a 1 on it, right of it we have a 2, and left of it we have a minus of 4. So as per the first inequality, x is strictly greater than that of 1. So 1 is not included, and whatever be the real number like just right of the 1, that should be greater than that of 1. While second inequality we are having x never be equals to 2, so 2 is excluded, so 2 should be denoted by the hollow circular dot. While whatever be the values lies just right of the minus 4, that should be always greater than that of minus of 4. So intersecting part of the given inequalities or the given intervals, we might have the semi-open interval 1 comma infinity except the singleton 2. That should satisfy simultaneously all three inequalities or the inequations. You might denote it by like x belongs to the open interval 1 comma infinity minus of singleton 2, because x never be equals to 2, keep in mind. So the domain of the given function should be open interval 1 comma infinity minus a singleton 2. Now suppose to be we have one more example, depends upon the logarithmic function again. Suppose f of x to be equals to, what will happen if we have the quadratic function under the logarithm and having linear function as the base. So again same case, once f of x to be equals to log of x to the base a, we have the base becomes always greater than 0, never be equals to 1, and that function under the logarithm always greater than 0. So that should implies here x square minus of 1 is strictly greater than 0, and x minus 3 is also strictly greater than 0, and x minus 3 never be equals to the 1. So as per that, if we are trying to simplifying those inequalities, so x square minus of 1, so we are having 1 be the perfect square of 1 strictly greater than 0. So that should implies we have the factors x plus 1 into x minus 1 is strictly greater than 0. And once we are shifting the minus 3 from LHS to RHS direction of inequality, we get 0 plus 3 as a 3. So x is strictly greater than that of 3. After all shifting minus 3, 1 plus 3 becomes a 4. So x never be equals to 4. What will happen if x is equals to the 4? So 4 minus 1 is, 4 minus 3 is 1. Base becomes a 1. That should not possible for the logarithmic function. So as per that, we have, there are again two cases. Case number first, once the both brackets are having positive sign under the multiplication, plus plus becomes a plus, and once both brackets are having the negative sign under the multiplication, minus minus becomes a plus. So first case both are greater than 0, and the second case once both are less than 0. So as per that, we are trying to simplifying now all inequalities. So x is strictly greater than that of minus of 1, and x is strictly greater than that of 1. So for that, consider here real number line for considering their intersecting part. Somewhere we have a 1, left of it we have a minus of 1. Now as per the first inequality, x is strictly greater than that of minus of 1, means whatever be the real number lies just right of the minus, just right of the minus 1 actually, that should be always greater than that of minus of 1. While whatever be the real numbers just right of the 1, that should be greater than that of 1. So intersecting part of both intervals, we are having x is strictly greater than that of 1. What about the second case now? Look once carefully. We are trying to simplify those inequality. So there is a word as an or. So either a first or the second case should be there. So x is strictly less than that of minus of 1, and x is strictly less than that of 1. So as per the real number line, we have to consider their intersecting part. So for that we have a 1 somewhere on the real number line, left of it we have a -1. So whatever be the real number just left of the -1, that should be less than that of -1, and whatever be the real number just left of the 1, that should be less than that of -1. So intersecting part of both becomes x should be less than that of -1. So the union of both cases are of the form now x belongs to, look once carefully, x is firstly strictly less than that of -1. So from -infinity up to the -1 we have the open interval. There is a word as an or, so we have to use the union. Now we have x is strictly greater than 1, so we have as an interval 1 comma infinity. That means you may write it as a x belongs to sets of all real numbers excluding the closed interval from -1 to 1. And the second case we are having now, x should be strictly greater than that of 3 and x never be equals to the 4. So intersecting part of all inequalities might gives us the domain of the given function. So look at once carefully about the intersecting part of all. We have somewhere minus of 1, right of it we have a 1, right of it we have a 3 and 4. So first inequality is of the form sets of all real numbers excluding -1 to 1, that means left of side of -1, right of side of 1. X is strictly greater than 3 means excluding 3, sets of all possible real numbers right of 3 excluding 4, because x is never be equals to the 4. So you may draw the line over the intervals left of -1, right of 1, right of 3, 4 is excluded. So if we will make the intervals to be shaded, so they might be are of the form like way. So all parts are to be considered except a -4. So no need to write it down the lines over the minus of 4. So we have all those elements excluding the 4 actually, not a -4. So this shaded region implies, or among them, the intersecting part becomes, keep in mind, ultimately, that means for finding the domain now, x belongs to the open interval 1 comma infinity except the singleton 4. This might be the domain. Keep in mind here 3 is not included, but 3 is included in the interval, that is r minus is in closed interval -1 comma 1. So we might exclude the 3 also from the given interval. Then we will get the intersecting part of it. So we are excluding here 3 and 4. So domain of the given function f becomes open interval 1 comma infinity excluding 3 and 4. So you might here within the shaded part you might be exclude the minus of 3, that means it is of the form somewhat like way. Like this way. So this shaded region over the right side of the given real number line or right of the -1, it is the domain of the given function. So today we will stop here. Now we remain with the composite function, inverse function, real value function, and examples depends on it we will discuss during the next lecture. Thank you.